In a call made to 911, police say a man was assaulted and killed. 2 people are now behind bars. What we know about the suspects and the investigation. And one nurse is back to the U.S. after traveling to Ukraine to help those impacted by the war. We sit down with her to talk about her experience.
Kaylee, we've had a cold front that actually came through the area that will briefly turn us just a little bit cooler. But here's what's on my radar. Next week, we may be right back toward record-breaking warmth. Highs soaring back into the mid and upper 70s. Outside chance we could be near 80 degrees. I'll let you know how long that will last coming up in my full forecast.
Welcome into WTOL 11 News on Plus. I'm Kaylee Maritet. Thanks for joining us here on this Wednesday night. Let's get to your top stories. Tonight, there's a new effort to identify a woman's body found burned and behind a Toledo auto parts store in 1987. Toledo police asked for the Porchlight Project for financial help with the case. The group will contract with a Texas-based lab for DNA and genealogical testing. The Porchlight Project and the lab focus on helping police solve cold cases. Detectives do have this rendering of what she likely looked like. They say they know the woman had strawberry blonde hair and is believed to be between 16 and 20 years old when she was killed. She was wrapped in a pink-colored cloth, and investigators believe someone set her on fire to destroy evidence.
A male was just attacked in his living room. Unknown suspect. Male is possibly deceased.
Police rushed to the scene of that reported assault just before 11 o'clock last night. When they arrived, they found 57-year-old Curtis Marshall unresponsive and beaten to death. Silver Barker has this story.
All right, and he was attacked in his living room. Do you know who attacked him? What?
Oh, he's dead.
What do you mean he's dead?
Okay.
Oh, my God.
A call to Toledo police around 11 Tuesday night.
Okay, ma'am, I've got help on the way to you guys.
But it was too late. By the time police arrived, they found 57-year-old Curtis Marshall on the floor inside his residence, struggling after being brutally beaten. Police say he was taken to a nearby hospital and was pronounced dead.
That blew my mind. I just don't understand.
A neighbor who called 911 says she knew Marshall. She says he had a wife and 3 kids.
The 3 kids, that's father was attacked last night when they were all there. All of them, the wife, the 3 kids, all of them. He was attacked there.
She told WTOL 11 she is a relative of one of the attackers and gave us her side of the story as to what happened that night. She says she received a call from her sister-in-law asking for help from her brother to go break up what she thought was just a fight needing to be broken up.
She said he's bleeding on his floor. I said, wait, what? What are you talking about? She said the boys attacked Curtis. He's bleeding on his own floor. And I screamed for my brother. I told him to go and check. And then he came back in. Literally, my brother's a big Irishman, okay? He came back in completely panicked, completely white. He's dead. They killed him. He's dead.
Now, she says she doesn't know what's next for this neighborhood after an incident like this.
If we got people moving out left and right, and now someone was murdered in their own home. Like, what does that say?
In a statement sent to WTOL 11 from Toledo City Council person Teresa Gaddis, she says, quote, "We recognize this is a tragic event, but the people of East Toledo are hardworking and resilient, and we support each other when something like this happens. My heart goes out to the family and friends of Mr. Marshall." End quote. Silver Barker, WTOL 11.
Well, a 10-year-long infestation of bed bugs. That's what people living at Keygate Manor, an assisted living facility in South Toledo, say they've been dealing with. More than a dozen people at the complex say there's at least 1 or 2 infestations a year. And this year, they've seen as many as 5. Property owners Beacon 360 sends exterminators to spray individual rooms. But people told WTOL 11 that that's not doing the job.
Because of the infestation of bed bugs. We feel like it's not being handled properly. They're bombing room by room as people have them. They're reoccurring.
Beacon 360 officials say they try to address breakouts as quickly as they can, sending in exterminators to spray rooms and bring in bed bug sniffing dogs to make sure that they completed the job. On to our last story of the night, reducing crashes in Ohio. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and ODOT announced an investment of $63 million dedicated to projects to improve road safety. According to DeWine's office, funding from ODOT's Highway Safety Improvement Program will support 19 safety projects in 14 counties. This will include the construction of a dozen roundabouts and installing several cable barriers. Some of the funding will be used in Northwest Ohio, in Wood County, and Williams County. Officials at the CDC say some McDonald's Quarter Pounders could be making people sick. In today's Behind the Hashtag, we'll break down the E. coli breakout impacting some of the fast food chain's locations. The CDC states that 49 people have been infected with E. coli so far, and most reported eating a Quarter Pounder from McDonald's before falling ill. McDonald's leaders say they pulled the burger from menus in impacted locations and say it's linked to a subset of cases from onions sourced from a single supplier.
I would imagine that the conversation around food safety is going to change within the industry after the news of McDonald's outbreak, not because of the ingredient, not because of the specific pathogen or the numbers, but because of that idea of no company is immune.
So far, 1 death has been linked to the breakout, and 10 people have been hospitalized, including a child who developed severe kidney complications. More than half of infections were reported in Colorado. Well, if you want to see more breakdowns of viral trends and 60-second stories, check out our WTOL 11 social media pages on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. With less than 2 weeks to go until the November 5th election, we want to answer as many questions as we can before you cast your ballot. Now, some posts online are saying that using a Sharpie on your ballot will invalidate your vote. But many ballot tabulator manufacturers actually recommend Sharpies over regular pens. Let's verify.
Every state offers absentee ballots, which allow you to vote by mail either with or without an excuse, depending on where you live. But according to vote.org, one claim that it hears all too often is that absentee ballots are only counted in tight races. So let's verify using these sources. All election officials are required to count every eligible ballot, according to the Federal Voting Assistance Program, regardless of whether you vote in person or absentee. The U.S. Vote Foundation says some of the misconceptions stem from when races are called early for a candidate. This happens when it's not mathematically possible for their opponent to win. So even if you know the result, those absentee ballots are still counted in the final tally. Plus, there are many races on a single ballot. So just because one is a slam dunk for a candidate doesn't mean that's the case for another. So no, absentee ballots are not only counted in close races. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
We're now less than 2 weeks away from Election Day, and all eyes are on the race for the White House, but there are plenty of local races and issues on the ballot. One of those issues in Lucas County is a new money request from the library. It's a bond issue at $1 million for 30 years. That would cost the owner of a $100,000 home about $35 a year. If it passes, the library says it plans to open a new branch in White House.
We definitely wanted to make sure that this branch library was something that would be welcomed by the volunteer library there. And so it's our hope that the folks that have been supporting that library for so long will also become volunteers at the Toledo-Lucas County Public Library as well.
Those at the library say they don't have a timeline for when construction would be done, but say if voters approve the bond issues, they'll start designing next year. An update now to a property with an unofficial future in Northwest Ohio. Perrysburg's zoning committee decided the full city council will vote on a zoning change. The move involves a chunk of land on Eckel Junction near Costco. The 24-acre parcel is currently zoned for residential, but the city has considered changing it to commercial. While there is no official announcement as to the plans for the property, there is rumors of a business like Topgolf having interest. The vote would come after a public meeting on November 19th. Well, the need for senior housing has been a big talker in Monroe recently. According to the city of Monroe, adults older than 65 make up about 15% of the city's overall population, and people there are asking for more senior housing. The deputy director says the city of Monroe is committed to addressing the need and that a number of redevelopment sites have been identified.
We've been having active communications with developers, both developers that will call in and also ones that we will seek out, knowing that they're working in that space. So we're very in tune with senior housing. It's something that we have a huge focus on right now.
The overall goal is to add 2,200 more units in Monroe with an emphasis on senior housing. A Northwest Ohio nurse just returned from Ukraine after spending a month helping those impacted by the ongoing war in Russia. Mila Beria was born in Ukraine, and this was her first time back since Russia invaded nearly 3 years ago. In June, Tea Tree Asian Bistro held a fundraiser to help her get to Ukraine as a volunteer nurse with the Global Care Force. Mila finally raised enough money to get there and says although it was a difficult experience, she felt it was her calling to help those impacted by war.
One of the persons just shared to me that she saw not just explosion, not just the bombing in front of her, but also people's parts of the body that went in the air.
Despite how difficult it was to be there, Mila says she wants to go back to Ukraine to help in an emergency room. Well, if you looked up in the sky today, you might have thought you saw a bird or a plane, but really it was Superman and some of his friends. Heroes from Deadpool to the Incredible Hulk, Thor, and more rappelled down the side of the Nationwide Children's Hospital today. Kids receiving treatment inside watched from the windows as the comic characters made their way down. Some even stopped to high-five the young patients. Now, these superheroes usually have a police uniform on, but decided to switch it up today.
I'm not sure who's more excited, the children or the staff. As you can see, it brings a lot of pleasure to everyone. But for our children in the hospital, you know, there's a lot of things they don't have control over. We're doing things to them. They're in an unfamiliar environment, experiencing things that normal kids don't get to experience. So to bring this opportunity to them, we really appreciate what the Toledo Police Department and the superheroes do to make this happen.
Those with the hospital say the patients find out the day before the heroes show up, so they line up in anticipation to find their favorites. Chris?
I just love seeing those superheroes brightening the day of so many children that really need that little pick-me-up. So great to see that. Gorgeous weather going to be expected for Thursday. Sunshine's going to be back. A little cooler than what we've experienced most of the week. Back to the sweatshirts and light jackets. Highs close to 60 degrees. Overall, this is going to be an outstanding looking and great feeling Thursday into Friday. There will be some scattered showers. That's going to favor the first half of the day. So overall, I'm going to keep that chance of rain fairly low. It may be a few hours in the morning where we get a couple light showers right around the mid-60s, and those shower chances will be out of here by early afternoon. And into the weekend, if you like dry and cooler weather, we're right back towards 60 degrees on Saturday with more sunshine. Temperature-wise, as we went through the afternoon on Wednesday, really was a nice day, upper 60s, near 70 degrees. Still no threat of any rain across the area. I feel a little bit like a broken record saying that time after time, but a cold front that slid through the area, now making its way with some cloud cover into central and eastern Ohio, now well out of the picture. So where do we go forward in the hour-by-hour forecast? Clearing skies will unfold tonight. Temperatures are going to be falling back into the 30s, so it'll be a cool, dry start to the day as we get into Thursday. Back around the mid to upper 30s, but bright skies and sunshine going to make for a gorgeous afternoon. Highs going to approach 60 degrees, very limited cloud cover. And our next chance of rain, you're going to see it show up here in the hour-by-hour forecast. Still going to be dry as we go through Thursday night. It's Friday morning. Rain chances will make their way back into the area. And here it is right around daybreak, rain rolling in west of I-75. These showers are going to be very light. I'm talking 1/10 of an inch of rainfall at most. It's really just going to be enough to sort of dampen the dust of the dry weather that we've had. Some showers continue late morning through about noon, and just after lunchtime, those showers do move off to the east, and we'll have dry weather that will return as we get into our Friday evening. So let's talk football. We are well into the high school football season. In fact, getting ready to wind things down. And Friday night, another beauty. Dry conditions, clear skies, 57 around kickoff time, 55 at 8 p.m., low 50s by 9 p.m. Could even get a few areas back at the upper 40s as we go after